Travelers, Mark.
Jocelyn.
And we know it takes. So let's start again. Hey there, fellow travelers. Mark and Jocelyn here. Sorry.
Hi.
And as usual, we're here and we're trying to get everything working with the YouTube stuff.
I
So
always love the beginning of these things.
I know it's kind of a pain because the YouTube does such a wonderful job of making these things easy to use when they work. So if we're started, do let us know if we are actually going. So I see Mark Finley and Brent's on there and Ronnie's on there. So if we're up and running, let us know. That would be awesome to let us know if you have a chance. Because it says we're live, so hey, we see have that. It says there's 5 concurrent viewers, and okay.
Okay.
All right, so we should be. Hi guys. All right, good.
Yep. All right, we're good. Hi. Good morning,
hey, Mark.
afternoon,
hey,
evening,
Brent.
whatever it is, wherever you are.
Yeah, so we want to say thank you to all you fantastic patrons on Patreon that are on here and all you members that are on here. Thank you so much. Good. I'm glad it's all working. I know it's a little delay from what we say to what you type, so bear with us on this, but it's really nice to have another one of these more intimate settings for our live feeds. And we got some really good questions that people sent us. So I'm going to go through some of those before. Let's say hi to Ronnie down in Fort Worth.
I have been to Pittsburgh, actually. It was a long time ago. That was pre-Mark, and it was fun. I really loved Kennywood, right? It's Kennywood. Yeah, they had really good wooden roller coasters.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, Michael, good to see you. You got a couple of questions from Michael on here. Hop, we got some from you too, so we got some stuff. So what I want to kind of go into first, Allison Fackler wrote this one, and she asked, how do you pick a hotel or an inn, etc.? There's so many websites with different reviews. Where do you start when going somewhere new? And the thing is, this is kind of a tough topic. I mean, that's a good question, Allison. Thank you. Because there are tons of options where to stay. There's also tons of sites that are on there.
So I'm usually the one booking our hotels. Mark usually does the flights, and I usually do the hotels. Whether it's a hotel or an Airbnb or VRBO or whatever. I read a lot of reviews, and I read reviews both good and bad, because sometimes people give like a 1-star and it's because there wasn't free breakfast. Well, that's a really stupid thing, right? So I kind of have to gauge. I never read less than 5 reviews on a place that I'm really considering staying. I look at the pictures. To me, looking at pictures taken by the people who have stayed there and not by the resort or the hotel or whatever, not by the company. Look at real travelers' pictures. That's what gets me the most. I feel like it's far more honest. So I kind of gauge it from those things. We do kind of have to look at like where we're staying and as far as like where in a town or whatever, and what kind of public transportation we have and things like that. And that kind of stuff I kind of go to Mark, because he usually has researched more. I mean, if it's Paris or Rome, I know those things, but like El Salvador is our next stop. And so I'm like, okay, you tell me, where do I want to be in this city? Do I need to be on the beach, or can we be a little ways off the beach? And he'll have a better understanding of that maybe than I will. So
yeah, and that's the thing, is knowing because yes, everything you said. And with the on the beach or off the beach kind of things, that's one thing, is you really look and see what you want to do. Because I know a lot of people, like you have countries like Switzerland, which are super expensive. And what people will do is they will book something way out of town because, it's cheaper there. But I'm like, but you got to take a $50 taxi ride in and $50 taxi ride back out. That's $100. How does that affect your choices?
How does that change where you're staying?
Yeah, and we do the same thing with flights, because sometimes it might be $200 cheaper to fly out of Chicago versus the small airport by us. And you're like, well, or less, sorry, $200 more at the airport near us. But I'm like, wait a minute, if we have to park and we have to leave it there for a month at $20 a day or whatever, it's like, wait a minute, maybe it's worth that. So you have to kind of judge those things there. Yeah. And we do look at sites. The thing is, be careful. Like TripAdvisor gives you some ideas, but anybody can write reviews on there. That's why I like Booking.com. I like their reviews better, because you have to have actually stayed there to write it. So that does make it a bit better.
Yeah. So that's a big thing, is I'll look at TripAdvisor maybe for some ideas, and because they have like little question and answer things that people have done, and so often those are good. But those are just ideas. It's just sort of a baseline for me. And then I go to bookings. Usually that's the one I use.
I can learn to
reviews on and things. So there was something else I wanted to say in that, but it slipped my mind. It's evening. What do you want?
Yeah. And if there's any delays or anything happens, do give us a little comment and stuff like that. Because because you hear that voice that just popped up, that's when I try to look at the stream health to see how things are going. So I don't always know if things are working. So every so often, just say, "Hey, you're all good, okay?" So there is that. Michael Mon agrees. Yeah, look how close to local transit's a good one.
Local transit cleanliness. So a lot of times for us, we are just there like to lay our heads down and to take a shower in the morning, and then we're out. So for me, it's like, is it in a safe location? Is it clean? And that's all I really need to know. Any other stuff is sort of, it's just icing on the cake, right? So that was what I wanted to say. Those are my two big ones.
Ronnie Dove, they're talking about wings in Pittsburgh. Quaker Steak. Yeah, we used to have one kind of by us. They actually had really good wings.
Yeah,
they were good wings.
And we're picky. We like our wings.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So David, or Hop, as you might see him pop up on here, writes, David from the UK here, how do you choose whether to use a licensed taxi at a destination or a ride-sharing app like Uber? Do you have simple rules that help you decide what to use? A lot of times I look at reviews and options. For example, I was in Atlanta, and Atlanta has a few taxis, but they're impossible to find. So you kind of get forced into doing the Uber kind of thing. In Sao Paulo, all the locals like, dude, have you heard of this app called Uber? You should really try it. I'm like, really? Tell me more.
They're going to have Uber helicopters in the city because their traffic is asinine. Yeah, which is kind of fun. I want to do that. I want to do that.
You go right ahead. I'll watch.
Yeah, I know.
So that's one of the things. But then sometimes, like in London, I prefer doing the black cabs because they know so much about the city that it's like you get a history lesson as you go. And if anything happens, they know their way. Because a lot of times what will happen if you're in cities like Atlanta or Nashville, where so many people have come in and doing Uber is like their side gig, they don't know the city. So they're really just following the Google Map thing and stuff. You're like, actually, it'll be a lot faster to go this way. Well, Google Maps says go this way. So it kind of depends on how good the taxi drivers are there.
And also, you can always ask your hotel. I mean, never be afraid to say, hey, is Uber reliable here or whatever? And ask, there are certain places, especially when it's our first time to go somewhere. I think we're more apt to get a registered taxi than we are maybe to go with Uber or something right away because we don't know yet. So I always feel like my first choice in cities, especially like in Europe and Central and South America, I feel like I'm more likely to do a regular taxi as my first until I kind of get to know something and I've talked to more locals and have a better feel for things. So
yeah. So next up, let's see. Next up on here, Brian Smith. So Brian, don't know if you can make it today, but I know you wanted to get this question so it can be on the repeat. So Brian Smith wrote, hope I can make the live feed. We had our first child in August. Congratulations. And now we're thinking about our first travel plans for next year as a family. From y'all's experience, what baby/toddler gear is the must-have versus do without or rent there kind of stuff? So for me, with a kid that small, I'm telling you, like the baby Bjorn was so much easier to get around. Yeah, you get all sweaty and stuff like that. But having the baby right there, it's a lot more maneuverable. That's like my go-to.
And I love that because quite frankly, I could breastfeed on the fly. I mean, there were times when Liam was fed sitting on a metro. And so take a few days worth of diapers and a couple small packs of wipes. That's all you need. You don't have to go and buy you don't have to pack all of that. If I'm going somewhere funky where I'm not like sure about like if you're
going to middle of nowhere village in Greece.
Yes, then I would pack more diapers. Like if you're in a big city, most of what you need you can buy there. But
because they have babies there.
Absolutely, there are babies living and thriving all over the world. But I always would. One of my girlfriends said she did this in a plastic bag, which was brilliant. Always have at least 2 backup changes of clothes for small people. Up to about toddlerhood. When they're really little, they're having blowouts and spit up, and you never know what.
Hey, look, I can pour my whole soda on me, Daddy. Isn't that cool? Yeah.
So she would put, I always had 2 or 3 changes of clothes, just like onesies and things like that. But if you put them into Ziploc bags, individual like quart-sized Ziploc bags, when they have the blowout, you can take the clean clothes out and put the nasty stuff in there. So although we shouldn't, use a lot of throwaway plastic when it comes to poop, it's necessary.
That would be great.
So that's a big thing. But strollers, like he said, the Baby Bjorn worked really well for us. There were a couple of times when we went somewhere and we bought the cheapest umbrella stroller ever. Like $5.
Yeah, once they got about 2.
Yeah, you kind of need it when, once after they start walking is when you really need the stroller and you can't carry them around so much all the time. And they want to run, but then they need to nap. And carrying them napping is no fun for the adults. So we've bought really cheap strollers, but generally speaking, when we traveled, we always went with an umbrella stroller of some sort. There's a Kiko one that we really liked that was a little more sturdy than others that we took.
Also had a drink holder.
Always a good thing to have.
That's right. Family fun.
But it was, it's kind of nice too, because under the stroller, you've always got that little basket thing. So you can stash stuff under there. It's like the unimportant stuff that if it were to fall out or whatever, but it's nice to have that extra little space. Don't you think?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I agree.
So we've bought them. And when we've done that thing where we bought the really cheap one, we've also left it like in front of a church or something, because you know that it'll get to people. You can ask your housekeeping person if they know somebody that could use it or whatever, and they'll get it to people. So that's always a good idea too.
Yeah. So someone wrote about in New York City they don't use Uber. That's one thing I tell people all the time. During rush hour, don't use Uber. Go with normal taxis, because the surge pricing in big cities can make it like just stupid expensive. So don't do that. Mark Finley's on here and says, how often do you get recognized when you travel? It really depends where we travel and when people actually come up and say hi. Like sometimes I know people recognize us, but they don't say anything.
When they're like, and then they get their phone out. That happened to us at the Mexican restaurant the other night.
Oh yeah, here in town,
That was funny.
So I would say, but like, for example, I was in Atlanta for 3 days. No one said it. Well, there was nobody in Atlanta. It was empty. It's weird. But in Savannah, I was trying to film in one of the parks there, and I would only get like 3 minutes in. Another person come by. Hey, I watch your videos. Thank you so much. It was really cool. Just made it hard to film videos. So it really depends where we go.
Too, if that's because you've made so many videos in Savannah.
Yeah, but there's so old videos in Savannah.
Okay,
there's no new.
Europe, we get a lot in Europe.
Especially when we're in Italy and Germany, we get a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yep. So it happens, and we often get them in airports. I feel like we see more people in airports than anywhere else. Probably because high concentration of travelers. Yeah. All right.
So Brand from Isle Window made all the mistakes when I took my firstborn to London for 3 weeks when he was 7 weeks old. Packed stroller, all his clothes, months of diapers. But then that was my first ever. That's true, Brand. And we learn. We all learn. We make these mistakes to help out people. So thanks for sharing that, buddy. I appreciate it.
We've all been there.
Yeah. So now the next question we have on here, Michael Mann, who's here. I got a couple questions from Michael since you're on here, Mike. Working on our itinerary. Well, first off, there's another one I have. Michael Mann, he's got a father-daughter trip to Seattle coming up. His daughter's 26. That is really cool. I will tell you, like, my parents and I were never really close until I was in my mid-20s when we started doing trips together. And I know you two have a really good relationship, so that's going to be even more tight stuff. And it's really nice to have those, like, adult memories with your parents, or with your kids.
My dad, when I graduated college...
Hi, Terry.
My dad took me to Greece for a month, and it was just the two of us. And we've always been really close, but that is still in my mind one of the greatest trips I've ever taken. I mean, no offense, my love, but Dad kicked ass. Like, it was really amazing. So you'll have a good time, and it's awesome.
But his actual question was, what should I do in Seattle? So I did put one of the things I really love. The Museum of Pop Culture there is actually really cool. It's expensive. Everything in Seattle is expensive, so just know that. But that was really a worthwhile museum. It was worth the money to go in for all the stuff that was there. That was cool. Also, if you can take the ferry over, there's a town across the sound you can go to. It's just kind of nice to walk around. They have a travel bookstore that's like a travel store. It was really cool. I went into some good restaurants there. But you can take like a boat tour around. Also, there's some good hikes and suspended bridge hike, or no, not suspended bridge hikes. There's some hikes outside of Seattle you can do as well. I would do that. So pack some good shoes so you can get that, buddy. Okay. But yeah, I'm sure Brent can give you some tips on there too with some things. We have a couple Seattle videos that can probably help you out with the food and other things too that could help out. I think I have a love and hate of Seattle. So there's things there. Now, Michael also has another question. I'm sure eventually we'll have a casual run in, Michael. Don't worry. Michael had another question. Where was it?
Over here.
There we go. Working on our itinerary for spring trip to Italy. Always a good time to go. Have you been to Assisi and is it worth the stay there or is it just a few hours stop? So we have a friend of ours, Darren, who loves Assisi. He goes there all the time. He did his master's, his JD.
He has a JD. He's
a priest.
And so he went to school in Rome and he was studying canon law. But he would go up to Assisi all the time. I mean, but
he would go for a day.
Yeah, he'd just go for
the day. So,
but the first time he went, he spent a few days there. But I think some of that was also had to do with the Catholic priest thing. It was probably more so because of that. But definitely a day there is good. You know, I haven't been, but I trust Darren so much, and he's very particular, discerning.
Yes.
He's very discerning.
Yes.
And he loves it so much I couldn't tell somebody not to go because I trust his judgment that much. So.
Yeah. So I hope that helps out, Michael. Thanks for your support, buddy. Let's see. Oh, that was at 8:10.
Terry, where are you guys going for the mother-daughter trip in 2021? Have you guys decided yet or no? Whenever you can answer that.
Yeah. So Mark, I don't know the Dumbo area of Brooklyn, so I can't really give you too much help with that. Sorry. So maybe hopefully some of the other patrons and members can help out with that. Next up, let's see where I lost my because I'm trying to keep track of these so I can put like the questions in the description later. Okay, so this is a good one. Lindsay, hold on. This one that was on Patreon. This one, where'd it go?
I would read the answer out or the question out to you, but I can't read Mark's chicken scratch.
Can't read my chicken scratch.
It seriously looks like a chicken stepped in paint and walked all over this paper.
Well, there's a question I really wanted to go through. I'm searching my computer. Sorry, people. Yeah. So Lindsay Mugford. Okay, I was recently told not to bother going to Paris and Rome because I don't drink and I'm allergic to cow's milk. Is it really that hard to get food there without dairy in it? I'm going in October and I'm a little worried.
Oh,
Lindsay,
no.
Don't listen to those people.
Those people are idiots and not very nice.
Yeah, they obviously, it must be an ex-boyfriend or something. No. Or a friend doesn't like you anymore. You will have plenty of options. The European Union does a good job of making sure everything gets listed. And we found in Italy, if you have any allergies, you just tell the chef. You can actually go online and buy, in Paris too, you can buy like laminated cards, say, I have these allergies in the language, and just give it to them. Yeah. So the chef will know all the things. I would pick those up to be fine. Also, you don't have to drink when you travel. I know I talk about beer and wine a lot, but I didn't drink all the time.
Just because those are two of the regions where wine is so prevalent, that doesn't mean that you won't enjoy yourself thoroughly without that. But
yeah.
And as for dairy, truly, I mean, and most of the pastas don't have dairy in them. You just say no cheese, and they don't put cheese on it like all the time like we do necessarily.
Yeah, they'll ask you if you want the Parmesan, things like that. They don't just put it on. It's like a very much like you choose kind of thing. Yeah. So that's nice. Also, remember there's the primi piatti, which is the pastas, and the secondi piatti, which are the meats and potatoes and stuff. So you can have, Italian restaurants will have non-pasta options, dairy stuff. So you should be okay there. So I hope that helps you feel better.
And in France,
don't talk to those people anymore. They're horrible.
The food in France is so fresh and wonderful, and cheese is great in France. But if you're not eating dairy, you can easily avoid that too.
Yeah,
just eat oysters the whole time.
Yes, aisle or windows, very cool. Lies, all lies. That's right. Thanks, buddy. Okay, so the next one. Okay, this is one I think is a really important one. Billy Rubin, he's a member on YouTube. His fiance struggles with homesickness, and it's kind of an emotional battle after a few days of travel. Any tips to help out? Okay, so this is one, I read this one and I really fell for it because we have friends that can go for trips for, a week, and then it gets tough for them. Like, we're buying tickets today. And I'm like,
how long?
It's like 10 days that they just literally, it becomes almost paralyzing. My dad Now he used to travel all the time for work, and now, man, he gets home if he's away for more than a week. I mean, we know that we got to make sure we give him Yes, we got to make sure we get a good like Irish pub to give him a burger. Like wherever we are in the world, he's got to have a like burger day or pizza day or something like that.
So Billy, that's one of the first tips is make small efforts to be like home, and maybe take half a day off when you know it's getting to that point. Say it's like 3 days in. So on the second day, take half the day to just kind of laze around, do things that you would do at home, whether it's reading a book or watching TV. Take videos, load up some videos from home, shows and things like that to make it a little bit more homey, and eat some American food. That helps just to get your own local cuisine.
And one thing I'd say is also helping with the adjustment of getting her more excited for it, having her more of a part of the planning process so she can get excited about those places. That can help. I know, like with the boys, because the kids get homesick a little bit more, I think. And but when they're excited about the place they're going to go, and this is the thing I'm going to be in, especially get excited for something that's towards the end of the trip. Because if you're like, the big thing they're excited for is at the very beginning. It's like, okay, I've shot my load. I've seen my best part, and it's time to go. That's why we have this one on the patrons only and members only stuff. It's restricted access. But seriously, because what happens is they've already kind of seen what they wanted to see, and
so
then
maybe
it
the
goes
thing
down.
she wants to do most, keep it toward the end,
Middle end, not the very end.
Yeah.
I would say let's say it's the 75
end.
part. So you get that, and then it's kind of like you can bask in the glow.
Get out of here, please. Have you been drinking?
No, but I should.
So, and on that note, I can't.
Well, anyway, no, but and that's one of the things is don't get upset with them. It's really important not to get upset. It's kind of like when you tell don't get upset, it makes you more upset. Yeah. I would really, just talk to her about it, because obviously something's really bothering her at home about missing home, and it could be because she just wants to be at home.
You know what? If you know anyone, or if you can make friends, and there are certainly places in different countries where it's easier to make friends than others. But making friends and having people around, that's helpful too. Just to have, to meet people and get to know people. I always feel like that makes me a little bit more at ease anywhere I am.
Yeah. So don't let it ruin your trip, Billy. It is tough. I know that, but you'll get there. And I think some of these tips can really help you out. So we got some questions that come through. Ronnie's asking about LaGuardia Airport. I have not flown to LaGuardia since I was probably like 20. So it's been 20 years.
It's been a long time for me. Not quite that long, but is what I thought of it then. However,
I'm sure it's only gotten better.
However, I hate JFK more because JFK is in a constant state of what they've
disaster.
Do they have 2 runways now?
I don't know.
If they do, it's been recent.
Yeah, we always have bad luck at JFK.
There's always construction. There's always construction that affects you inside the terminal. Like we had to walk outside in the rain for at least a quarter mile with our kids to get from one terminal to the next. I mean, if I can avoid New York, I just do. That's it.
So and then there was another one I asked. Was it Brent or Mark? Yeah, Mark Finley. Had any bad experiences leaving your luggage at the hotel after checkout? I haven't.
Oh, yes, we have.
Which one?
That one, was it in Peru? Where our iPad was stolen? We had locked it in the thing?
Oh, that was in the hotel room. He's asking about when you're leaving the left luggage.
Oh, left luggage. Oh, that was in the
Getting
hotel
your
room.
apartment hotel robbed is totally different. That's a different thing.
We've never had problems, and we do it all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
But I would recommend if you're going to be taking like important stuff, I still have our passports with us. I don't leave that there. If I have like my Surface, like what we're filming on now, I'll put that in. I'll put a little lock on my backpack for that and stuff like that. So still lock it up, but we haven't had really any issues. But also it depends where you're staying. I mean, you never know. I just like places that usually have because some places will have a dedicated room. Other ones are like, oh, we'll just put it here in the corner on the side. So you're just kind of hoping it's a little bit better than that. So let's see.
Funster Productions, there's always a McDonald's around. Isn't that the truth?
That's true.
That or a KFC. You can pretty much get any kind of, you can always get American stuff.
So Brent from Isler Window writes, do you ever take a trip where you don't film or work on a video? Like just say, let's be a tourist without filming.
No.
Yeah, no.
That's a big fat no. And sometimes that gets a little difficult occasionally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough sometimes. But, I mean, the thing is, sometimes I'll like, for example, that's why I like going down to Savannah, because I've filmed so much stuff there over the years. I don't feel like I have to film. But now that I do the business videos as well, it's kind of like, well, I can make a business video right now. Hey, I got all my stuff with me. Since I have all my slides, so I can just put my slide up on my thing and I'll just talk there. And so there's always something I'll do. But it's interesting because, like, there's the main videos I want to do, like the don'ts, the traveling, the shocks, the mistakes, the food. Like, when I get those kind of 3 or 4 main ones done, then it's like, oh, now I can kind of relax. So it's kind of interesting that way. But I have to problem is I can't do this at the beginning because I want to experiment and see all the stuff and make sure and get a feel for it and all this kind of stuff. So it's kind of like, so sometimes one day I'll go on a vacation.
Billy, you're welcome. Adam G says hello from Nova, Northern Virginia.
Oh, Nova. I was thinking Nova where I used to teach.
No. Do you have any suggestions for small towns and scenic countrysides that I should know about in Germany and Italy? Do you have any favorites?
Yes.
Run away with that.
Okay, so Germany, you got a few different spots. If you're going to be flying into Munich, go up to Bamberg. You go up to Nuremberg and then over to Bamberg. And from Bamberg is a great base. You can go to Nuremberg and do those things. But Bamberg is a nice, smaller city medium-sized city that's really worth seeing. It's got a lot of nice stuff to see. From there, you go to Würzburg, which is nice. You can also, from Munich, you can go to Regensburg, which is another nice town I like. Another region that's really worth seeing, if you're going to be kind of by Berlin, you can go to the Harz Mountains. You got Wernigerode, Quedlinburg, which were in the former east, which is kind of cool. You can go to Goslar, which is in the west. Yeah.
Nothing. You're just putting your fingers in my face and it's bugging me.
Oh,
like
sorry.
I can't even see the screen.
Sorry, my bad.
Here,
my bad.
Can I just count?
And then if you're going to be up in the north, like by Hamburg, Lübeck and Lüneburg are 2 great small towns to check out. So those are things there. Now in Italy, it really, again, just like in Germany, it depends where you're going to be. Like the Veneto has a bunch of smaller towns or medium-sized cities that are worth seeing, like Padua and Vicenza and Verona, and those are getting kind of bigger. But like in Tuscany, you can get to Lucca, which is nice, or you can go over to Ravenna on the other coast, Bologna, things like that. So there's some decent smaller towns. Well, they're not really smaller towns, like medium-sized towns. Got to make sure you can get there. Those would be some things I would see. So I hope that helps. These are some of our favorite ones.
Hey, so Terry, hi Terry. She says, how do you pack a carry-on suitcase but leave space for souvenirs? So I don't pack much. And half of my souvenirs are clothes. But this is how I do it. This is one of those little Longchamp bags, and I'm going to unfold this so you can see. So this goes in my carry-on, and this is like the biggest one they make, I think. But can you see how big that is? That's like more than the length of my arm. And it opens up huge, but it folds up so little. And this just happened to be sitting on my kitchen chairs, so I could run in and grab it and show you. So that's how I do it. But there you go. And now it's all folded back up, nice and easy. So I don't think I've ever needed any more space than that thing can give me. It's and actually that I carry a little extra lock on it. So that if I have to, I can check that. If like there was that one time we came back from Brazil and we had this beautiful wood carving of the Holy Spirit.
Santo,
yeah, Spiritu Santo.
Hanging right over there.
And it was all wrapped up and they were like, you can't take this on the plane. It could be a weapon. We're like...
Wait, it's the shield of God? I'm kind of confused.
It's the Holy Spirit. Okay, so... Anyway, so we had it all wrapped up and instead of messing with it or having any kind of conversation, I just locked that bag up and sent it on its merry way. Of course, that bag could be cut open really easily, but it wasn't. It was fine. So that's how we do it. So
Billy Rubin, you get one more trip. Where do you go?
What? One more?
Israel, Egypt. Be my top 2. Like if it had to be a new place. If it had to be a new place I haven't been, that would be that.
If it had to be a new place, Ethiopia for a new place. Ethiopia is high on my list right now. As is whatchamajigger. You know what I'm talking about. That I can't get to.
Oh, Bhutan.
Yeah, Bhutan. Thank you. I'm going next to Tibet. So Bhutan would be another one because I just think that they're both, I don't know. And I could eat Ethiopian food from now till Sunday and never get sick of it. So that's part of my thing. But if it had to be one that I've already done, it would be Greece because I have family there. And yeah. So
I can understand that.
Eric Brown, I'm interested in this because I don't know this. Have you heard any reviews on the EasyJet small hotels in Europe? I haven't. If any of you have, let me know.
It's like an Ibis. They're just like really small, cheap hotels. They're fine.
That's it.
I mean, it's really, if you're the one that's just like, all I do is sleep there and it's just me, or like, I mean, you're not getting any extra people in that room.
You can get 2 people if it's like Ibis or Ibis.
Yeah, if it has a double. If it's a single, it's like a literally a single bed. If you're like skinny like her, but not like me. Different. They're fine. I mean, they're fine.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's go to our next question on our list. So, okay. So this is one from Eric Brown. I think it's on here too, wasn't he? Yeah. Eric, you sent me a question. Hey Mark, I'm flying in and out of both airports in Rome. Should I stay closer to one of the airports or the city center? I also wonder the distance between the airports and the tourist areas. Okay, so don't stay out by the airports in Italy or in Rome because it's too far. Like, it just takes too long to get in and out.
It's the time factor. It can be cheap to get in and out, but it's the time factor every day going in and out. It's just a pain.
And there's enough cheap places by Termini Station that you can go and have a decent price.
And if you stay near Termini, the bonus is that, and there are shady parts near Termini, so please be aware of that. There are, once you get a little further away, it's okay, but there are definitely some shady characters around there. But if
it's also where we always stay too. So
yeah, absolutely. But if you are so moved, you can always hop on a train and go to somewhere for the night. Mark and I did that. Well, we do that. Not we did. We do that.
But I would say because I wrote a comment back on your question, but on the where you posted. But I would say one thing to look for. Don't worry about it. There's buses that go to both of the places, but there's a train that goes to Fiumicino, the big one with FCO. There's a train that goes there right from Termini as well. So you're going to be okay that way. I think there's a bus that goes between the two, but you don't need that. Like, I would stay in town and do that just to make your life a little easier. Okay.
Adam, that's cool. My cousin lives in Woodbridge. Terry Finley asks, do you check your suitcase on the way home? Actually, Terry, if we are going international, we generally check our suitcases both ways, because by the time you get out of customs and all that and going through passport control, in the queue with your kids and, 2 or 3 pieces of carry-on, it's just more of a pain for us, because by the time you're out of there, your bags are right there. You just walk out, grab your bag, and go.
And we usually have, because we go from a small airport, so we always have connections. So it's kind of like, do I want to wait for my bag to come off the little jetway and stuff like that? So but we still only take carry-on sizes.
Yeah.
So because it's a lot easier. Like, I tell people that are trying to take a big suitcase, I'm like, take 2 smaller ones. It's a lot more maneuverable than having that big lunky thing.
Yeah.
So
they're crazy. So we're big on checking things. But if it's domestic, I generally I'll take it with me. I'll carry it on. So.
All right. So next up.
Yeah, Michael Munn. We typically stay about a mile from Termini, and that's
not even
us
that
too.
far. It's like 4 blocks, 5 blocks.
No, but that's where he stays.
Oh, that's
Michael
where he stays. Okay,
about a mile. I feel like we're a little further out than 4 or 5 blocks, but
well, it depends where we go.
Yeah.
If we stay in the nicer places, yes.
6 to 8 blocks.
Yeah, because the thing is, everything's so compact that you can just walk around, so it's not really
just
too much to worry about it.
Those first 3 or 4 blocks, 3 blocks can be pretty dicey sometimes at night.
Yeah.
Creepers.
So Ronnie Dove asks, how do you feel about packing cubes also?
So I don't really use them very much. And part of that is because up until now, we've always shared suitcases, kids and adults. So like Mark and Liam went into one suitcase and Caleb and I went into another one. And so it was just kind of difficult for me. I don't know. I never got into them. I bought several and I've tried it, and I don't know. I felt like my clothes got squished more and whatever. It's not a bad thing for like socks and underwear. And actually our toiletry kit we have these great toiletry kits from Osprey, but for some reason I just dump everything into a packing cube, and that's what we take, and I just shove it in there and put everything on top of it. But so I just don't do it, and that's just personal preference. Ronnie also asks, what's your go-to backpack for traveling in Europe?
Osprey.
It's any Osprey. No, that's not any Osprey.
No, there's some that aren't that great, but there's a lot of really good ones. One thing people get upset with Ospreys for is they have no give. They are made so they fit in the overhead compartment, period, end of story. You know, those people like unzip and extend and it doesn't fit. Like, I don't know why it doesn't fit. Let me bring my bag on. I'm like, no.
But our Meridians do have backpacks attached to them, so you zip those off. And we can carry those. Mark carries a bigger Osprey because he's got his camera and his tripod and stuff. I occasionally will carry the daylight pack, but I don't like it because my water bottle falls out. All water bottles fall out of that thing, and it's a design flaw. It's just the way the little side pockets are made.
Enough.
They're not deep enough. But I don't really use a backpack when I'm traveling. Maybe it's because I'm a girl and I feel like I look touristy. I like to take my purse, and instead of a backpack, I often will take a grocery bag, like those reusable grocery bags from a local grocery store, and put things that aren't, very important in them. Like my if we have a book or whatever that you're carrying around, your Lonely Planet and that stuff, water bottle. If I need to put things in outside of my purse, then that's what I like to use because I always look local. Yeah. It's silly, but...
So, Erica... Okay, so I will focus on some questions. None of the airports are near the center of Paris, since Paris is so big. So you're looking to take an RER in, or you're taking an Uber in or a taxi in, so that's not the best, but you'll get in, and you get your hotel on points. That's great. She'll be coming in to do that. She's talking loud, so it's hard for me to hear what you're saying, what I'm trying to think. So you're going to be wasting a lot of time in the travel part, like the going to and fro, so that kind of sucks. But it's cheap. So there is that benefit, but I'd rather stay in town and do that. But at least public transportation is pretty good. So you should be able to get out there relatively easy, or at least get into the airport to get one of the RERs in for that. So Mark Finley has a few questions. I know you're on here, Mark, but I got one you wrote to me. Is the WeGo worth the saving money? So the WeGo is the app for the SNCF, the French train lines, and it's basically the only way you can buy the tickets online through your phone. It is worth it to have it. I mean, same with having the bond.de app. I always get the train apps because you can buy the tickets early and save a little bit of money. So I would definitely do that.
Well, and if there's ever delays and things like that, your app helps you navigate it, especially if you're on the train and they're not always really communicative. Sometimes you get a better information from the app.
And then on those trains, do they have a size like the airlines for your carry-on bags? Well, they're there, but I've never seen one check them. So that's one of those things. You can pay the extra $5 if you feel better, though, because it's only $5. So just to be safe, because they don't have room for big bags. I mean, that's one thing.
His is a carry-on that's a smidge over. I think that you'll be fine.
Yeah,
I've never, knock on wood, this will be the first time somebody actually.
Well, we'll say
called on that.
I want to talk about this one because on the TGVs and stuff like that, they don't have a ton of space for bags. And like in the German trains, that huge thing overhead that you can put big, huge suitcases in. They don't have that.
The French ones are literally this wide.
Yeah, like you'll either put it like between seats or like at the end. And if someone comes in early, they take all the spots. I mean, I've seen it where like one family takes everything up there with their huge suitcases, and it's really bad because you can't stack them and stuff falls out. So that's why. You might want to be looking into that, so be careful. Another one on here. The seats are less than half the price of a normal TGV bookings for a trip from Paris to Strasbourg. On that, we go, yeah, that's normal because you're booking early, so don't worry. But do know that there's the different kind of TGV. So the ones that are making you pay $5, I remember seeing these. Those are the ones with even less storage space. So just maybe do pay the $5.
Melissa, I'm going to butcher your last name. Tenswan asks, staying in Padua for a couple of nights and considering a day trip to Venice, Would you recommend taking a day tour in Venice, hoping to get the most out of my day without worrying about getting lost before the last train back to Padua? So I wouldn't take it. Personally, you can't get that lost in Venice because you're on an island. So all you do is you follow the signs like per Rialto, and you'll get to the Rialto Bridge, and you'll be able to, from there, get to the train station.
Well, it'll say per stazione.
Oh,
but then the best
in
is
some places
it'll have it both directions. You're like,
and that's okay. You can go either direction. You'll find another one that'll take you there. But those tours in Venice kind of get clogged. You don't really get a lot out of it. You'll get some interesting information maybe, but I'm going to say that sometimes the things I've heard them telling people has been suspect, simply based on the fact that I've been to Venice a lot. And, we've read up on the history. I studied a lot of the art and architecture of Venice, and there have been things they've said, and I'm like, what is that? I know that's not right. So, I would rather not. Also, as Mark and I were talking about this question earlier, and generally speaking, they often take you out to Murano, which is cool. And to go see glass blowing is really cool, but it's going to take you, it'll take up 2 or 3 hours of your day. Plus you're going to they're going to push you to buy stuff and whatever. And I don't know.
You'll get 15 minutes of glass blowing, and then you get to spend an hour in the store if you don't want to buy anything. So just go wandering around. You'll be bored. I mean, it's cool to see, and Murano's a nice little island, but man, it's just... I had to take my students there on a trip, and I was just like this. It was, but all the students brought all their souvenirs for their parents there, so that was something there.
Billy Rubin.
So Billy, your question about your fiance, I answered that about the 17-minute mark in this, and so this will be up for our patrons and members. I will put this on a restricted post so you can re-watch this. So Billy, I answered your question about the about your fiance and the homesickness, so I got that because I thought it was a really important question, buddy. But he has another question. Are squat toilets harder as husky or fellow? The small people on the internet make it seem easy peasy. I've got some serious doubts about that and some major anxiety about using one. So guess who loves squat toilets?
I love squat toilets.
Guess who hates squat toilets?
So, hang on.
Yeah, no, you go ahead. You go ahead and tell them.
Okay, so if you can they see me if I do this? So if you can just if you can just squat that way, it's so easy. I don't know. I mean, you're basically sitting on your calves, right? I don't know. I think it's really easy. I like it because I know nothing is touching anything that there has been pee or poop on, except for the bottom of my feet. I mean, not the bottom of my feet, dear Lord. The bottom of my shoes.
You're one of those people that takes your... We're going to have to get a divorce if you're one of those people that wears shoes in the bathroom on the plane, man. Lord, no. That's no bueno. So, Billy, peeing is no problem because you can still stand up. It's the squatting thing I've always had. I've never sullied myself, but I'm always freaked out about it. One thing I will say, though, is you can't just go. I would say it sounds weird, but start doing some squats and some lunges to get your quads ready. Because if you're used to sitting and going to the bathroom for a while, it's going to start hurting. So I would definitely get those used to, because you don't want to be down there like,
stretch,
oh,
dude.
no, I can't get up. No, but the squats help. I mean, because I remember before we went to China, I was doing that, and it really helped for those, okay? I don't know where you're going, Billy, but good luck. So my first experience on them was interesting.
But let's also say that in many places where squat toilets are prevalent, in very high tourist areas, you'll be able to find a Western toilet, and it will say Western toilet. It'll have a picture of our Western toilet on it, and then there'll be a picture of somebody standing on it and a big X through it.
Saying, don't stand on that one. The standing, the swell one's over there.
So you might not want to put your rear end on one because somebody's been standing on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Adam G., what European countries have you seen that have the best and worst drivers? So, well, the worst drivers is it's an interesting question, because worst is worst if you don't know how their system works, versus worst in just terms of worst drivers. For example, Naples is a complete disaster to drive around. But if you know the system, how to cross the street, stuff like that, you can do it. You know, it's kind of like, if I know people are going to cheat me, I can deal with that. It's those that I don't know if they're going to cheat me, I don't know what to do. And the driving is one of those things. Like Greece.
You drive on the shoulder. You drive as far to the right as you can without being in the dirt. And sometimes if you're in the dirt, that's not so bad. But people don't know that. They're driving down the road and they're causing accidents and it's a mess. But I would say Athens has some of the worst drivers I've ever encountered. And that has nothing to do with the rest of the country or the driving far, far to the right. They're just insane. Portugal freaks me out because they zip in and out. They're like rally car drivers and that.
But they're respectful of the crosswalks. It's really weird.
Absolutely are, especially in the city. But like on the interstate, or not interstate, on the highway, that's where I was always a little trepidatious about their driving. Germans are
efficient.
Great. They're efficient. They don't go against the rules.
They obey.
France was very easy driving, especially like on the highway.
Yeah, once you're out of Paris, it's fine.
Once you're out of Paris, yeah. So
Russia. We've all seen the dash cam videos. Yes, Mark.
So there's that too.
Yeah. So Eric Brown, started looking for hotels in Rome and saw a lot of cheap hotels by Vatican City. Yeah, there are some out there, but the restaurants out there, meh. And you're really far from the other stuff. You're better off doing a cheap one by Termini, I feel, than by Vatican City, just for like convenience of getting other places.
Yeah, the Vatican City is like the furthest thing from all the other stuff, but also it kind of really dies down at night.
Yeah, and that's where the Colosseum and outside the Vatican City area is where a lot of our fans have complained about pickpockets the most.
Yeah, and it like I said, at Vatican City is just dead at night, so getting food and stuff might be a little more difficult, and it's not going to be very good food. That's the worst. The worst food in all of Italy is right around Vatican City.
And Venice. Venice has got bricks. There's so many tourists that go through there. They don't have to really go too hard. So yeah. So I've gone through the questions that people have posted to us. What are some more questions do you all have? Because I know there's a slight delay, so you can post them on. Ask random stuff. It can be about anything. It's no problem. I know there's some things we got coming up soon. In Rome, they drive like maniacs. Yes, Michael, I do understand that one. You step off the curb, they immediately stop for the pedestrians, and they watch you go across and then zoom past you. Mark, I don't know the Hotel Aberdeen, so I couldn't tell you one or the other.
Hang on. I feel like I've seen that.
Well, you might have looked at it. I don't know.
I feel like I've looked at that. We haven't stayed there, but I feel like I know that name, and not from Scotland.
Well, I just put up a video from Aberdeen yesterday. So there you go. So I guess we should talk about some stuff that's going on this year. Because while you guys, again, send some more questions this way, because we've gone through the kind of in-depth ones we wanted to go through. Actually, all the ones people had sent us, I think. I think we've gone through them. That I didn't already answer on. Maybe I answered your questions on your post. So that's one of the things. When you post questions, I'll give you like a like or something like that to know that I'm going to talk about it in the live feed. But also I might give you like a sentence or two, like answer, like a little bit of a tip or something like that. Like Billy, his thing, I was like, man, I can't put that in a little reply. I'm definitely going to talk about it. So I'm going to try to answer as many as I can. All the ones I have that need a more talking than just a simple yes, no, or like a one sentence answer config. So don't stop the questions. I know Michael Munn's got one. How much time would you recommend for visiting Ghent? 2 days. Actually, if you do Ghent and Bruges, I do a 3-day combo and see both of them, and don't go to Brussels. Also, if you do a 3-day combo, you could do a day trip to Ypres or the World War I battlefields out that way. That's really kind of cool.
Yeah, we didn't get to do that this summer. I'm kind of sad about that. Mark Finley says, as your kids get older, are they pushing back at the idea of being on camera or the opposite?
Caleb does a lot. Like he'll do this year. Well, this year wasn't as bad as last year. Well, 2018 was tough because that's when he was like, I don't want to be. I don't do this. So like, okay, so like, then he's like, why am I not in the videos like my brother? You like him better? I'm like, no, your brothers want to be in the videos, and you get in there and you're like, I'm like, I'm not putting that in there. Come on, dude.
If there is this, it's the tween years, and Caleb's 13 now, and I feel like he's also a little more mature than most kids his age, but those tween and early teen years, they push back on everything, right? And then it gets a little bit softer, and he's starting to ease up, but we still can't push it very far. Like, if we like our 12 Days of Christmas video where we sing in random places, we're singing Christmas songs. And he'll be like looking around and like turn around, and you'll see on almost every video he's like
Yeah,
jetting off.
The 2018 one, it was 2019. He was okay
was
for
much better.
Yeah, he was much better than 2019.
But we also did it in places where there were less people.
Yeah, if there's nobody around, he'll do it. Like he actually came up with the idea for 11 roller coasters. He's like, I'll do 11 roller coasters at this thing. We were at a theme park in
He's come up with
Gardaland.
several of ours.
Yeah, oh, he has.
Like
the thing is,
cool
when
statues.
he comes up with it, he's totally fine with it. Then I'll do him because like, well, that was my idea. I'm like, okay. And then he was making videos with his buddies last night, the night before. They're doing a tutorial on how to make a black eye. I'm like, look, if you can do that video with your hair looking like that, I think you can be in my video.
I wish I could show everybody the picture. It was so fun.
You can do that.
I knocked. Well, it has someone else's kid in it, but
you zoom in just to Caleb.
Probably okay. So Caleb and his best friend were doing this ridiculous. Oh my gosh! I knocked on the door of the bathroom. I'm like, "What are y'all doing in there?" And they're in there trying to make this. Here, this. Can you see this? That is Caleb's hair. He had so much gel in it. It was absolutely atrocious. And they're like, we're making a video. And it was hilarious. And his best friend Jojo's got he's got markers and he's like blotting this stuff under it. It was great. And so he spent the night with his friend last night, and we picked him up we all go to the same church, and we picked him up at church. And they both still have smudge and black under their eyes.
As they're like, his head's down. I'm like, you guys didn't sleep last night. No, we went to bed early. I'm like, yeah, right. Whatever.
It was so funny. Oh my gosh. I love the teen years. This
Hi,
so
chumbers.
great.
So there was one on here. Eric Brown, is Stansted really as far from London city centre as it seems? Yes, it is. If you're getting in late night, you're going to pay at the butt you're just going to pay a lot for that taxi into town. I've actually, especially on Sunday, sometimes it's hard to get out there. I mean, I've had it where my taxi was triple the price of my plane ticket. So be careful with that. There's trains that go in and buses go in. The buses are cheap, so that's fine. It was like £9 last time I was there. But there's trains that go in and out of Stansted, so you have that. But yeah, it's out there. It's out there. Like, it's way out there. So just have a heads up. But it's all like low cost stuff. So there's a bunch of low cost ways to get around and get back into town. So that's nice. London City Airport is great. Is highly recommended. You're right, Funster Productions, because you're right there and it's like boom, and you're not dealing with too much.
So Ronnie Dove says, do you ever book multi-city flights?
I booked one today.
A trip I'm hoping to do at the end of the year requires flying into Amsterdam and out of CDG.
Oh, hell yeah. You got Delta. You're fine.
Easy. Being from DFW, American Airlines doesn't have multi-city flight on the web. What? Dude.
Go on their website. Maybe they have it if you click on the advanced search. That's where...
Call them.
Yeah, or
just call.
Call? Yeah, just call them. Or you can tweet at them, and they usually have... I'm going to look on American's site right now.
But I find that tweeting, Mark tweets all the time. I just call. And, with Delta, we've got, we have so many, we fly with them so much that we have status and we get better numbers that get us in faster.
That's weird. Yeah, they don't have round trip one way.
Wow. That's pretty sucky. That's kind of stupid, too.
Yeah,
they're kind of cutting themselves off some business, right?
Well, if you're in Dallas, Fort Worth, you're going to pay a bit more. But if you flew over to Atlanta, you could fly direct to Amsterdam. Well, actually, if you flew up Houston, well, maybe Houston, yeah.
Houston has Delta flights.
Yeah, but not to Europe.
And I know
to CDG and Amsterdam. Because you're going to have, because I know, because you've got KLM and you've got Air France, which are code shares with Delta. And that'll get you there. But I know if you want to fly American, you have that. I can't believe they don't have that. I would call them and see, like, hey, how do I do that? Because they might just send you a link.
Yep.
I have a link for it. Hey, Mark, could you post that link in the thing here for that multi-flight thing? Because when I went to it on my phone and didn't have it. So that was really weird.
Terry Finley, other than Manhattan and the cost, where would you recommend staying that's cost effective but safe for daughter and I if we're in New York City by ourselves?
Some people like Brooklyn a lot right now, but you're going to pay out the nose in New York. I mean, I just bought tickets.
Brooklyn's like incrementally less than Manhattan.
Yeah, and you got to be out there and then you got to come back in. And most of the stuff you're going to want to see is probably on Manhattan because that's the main tourist draw and stuff like that. You're going to pay a lot. I'm not going to lie to you. There's nothing. I mean, I have a video on hotels in New York City And you're going to get small. It's like Paris. You're going to get small and it's going to be expensive. Well, no, Paris has non-expensive. So it'll be small like Paris, but expensive not like Paris. So just know that that's going to eat up a lot of your budget. I know, like I got a double room for myself when I went there a couple years ago. And it was, the bed was like, it was like the best cheap hotel, like affordable hotel in Manhattan. Nice location, but it was like, like if I got out of bed, I had to bend my knees before I moved them over because it wouldn't fit on the side there. So it was like, like very, like about this much space, this on both sides. And they were like my little like European shower, 3-piece bathroom stuff. So you're going to pay. I don't have any help. I'm sorry. Cause I'm trying to figure that out too. Cause I'm going to try to, when I go back to New York this year, I'll be doing my mistakes in New York, scams in New York. I'm gonna try to find some budget tips for New York. Because I've filmed a bunch of new budget videos, but I haven't put them out yet for some reason. Try to help.
Well, Isle or Windows says it might sound strange, but try Weehawken in New Jersey, right across the river, and you get amazing views of the city. So there you go, and you can get a taxi over the bridge quickly. So that's a good.
Thanks, Michael, for being here for us, buddy. All your support over the years, buddy.
Adam G, what are your favorite wines? Any name recommendations?
All.
That's not true.
There's some really horrible
some
wines
that I
out there.
don't like. I don't know.
You do not like the Diablo one?
Yeah,
so good?
it tasted kind of like feet.
Yeah, I can't. Because what we'll do is we kind of stick to like Italian. We like Italian wines, occasional French wines.
I like French. Well,
Reds.
I like reds and whites actually. But that's what I had. I made fish tonight, so I needed white wine in the cooking, so I had a glass of Louis Jadot, and I really like that. And it's not terribly expensive. We don't. That's one thing about living in Europe. It made us not wine snobs, because some of our favorite wines were like €2 or less in Portugal. So Portuguese wines, generally speaking, are good value. They're usually good flavor. Like you can get a lot of depth of flavor, but they're not really expensive. So those are we drink a lot of Portuguese wines. I like Chilean reds too because they're spicy.
Yeah. So Terry, if cost doesn't matter, I would stay in Manhattan. I would just stay in Manhattan.
Bye, Michael.
Like Midtown up to Central Park, to beginning of Central Park. That's where I'd probably stay for safety and for seeing stuff and things like that. Let's see. Any other questions we have? No. So upcoming things we have coming up relatively soon. Liam and I are going to Space Camp in Huntsville, Alabama. So if you guys have any tips for Alabama, let me know. I've been there a few times. I've got some ideas for a fun video when I'm there for that. And then we've got El Salvador coming up. And I've got New Orleans coming up. And we've got the Cayman Islands. So we got some interesting trips coming up.
I just booked one for me and one of my girlfriends, and I will be meeting one of my dear friends who's Portuguese but lives in south of England. We are going to go to Highclere Castle and the Jane Austen Festival, and then we're going to road trip up to Stratford-upon-Avon, the Cotswolds, and the Lake District, and then come back home. So it's going to be like this crazy road trip. None of it's very far from anything else. But we're just going to be a whole bunch of good girly girl stuff, and I'm really excited about that. So we bought those tickets today, and I'm pumped.
Yeah, Brandon Island Window is very right. He tells Adam the best wine is what you like. Our favorite wine we had in Portugal was what, $1.70?
It was €1.87.
€1.87. We drank it. We drank the hell out of that stuff. It was funny because we actually could send Caleb down to the little market on the square, or a little market outside of our building, and he could go out there, and it was like 3 or 4, and he could go buy a bottle. And he'd get his little chocolate umbrella, and he'd get his bottle of wine and walk back with us. And we'd just be at the window at the balcony waving, and they knew. It's like small town stuff.
There was construction on our street.
Yeah, so there was nothing on our street, so it was just him.
Driving.
So
it was the cutest. He felt so big, and he loved that. The autonomy that Europe afforded our kids was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Funster Productions, how do you find the Talus trains? They're fine. I like the TGVs better, but Talus is okay.
I like Talus. One time there was some kind of deal, and I got to upgrade to first class on Talus, and it was awesome. And it was like I upgraded for like €10 or something ridiculous. I don't even know how I managed that, but that was really good trip.
So Brent, thank you for the Penny Vino. Has great pizza and is also family friendly. Another friend of mine told me about that one too. So I guess we'll stop by there. Cool. Thanks, man.
right.
I really do enjoy our like smaller settings for this. It's not as that crazy 4,000 questions come at the same time with random people like people having to like ban people from saying things and stuff like that. This is
really
much
nice
nicer.
that there's no trashy comments other than
know.
Mark's.
Sorry. I wanted to bring some of the
Love.
the love. That's right. Lots of love. So anyway,
You embarrass me.
I know that's why you married me because you
I
want to
know.
be embarrassed all the time.
Oh,
Well, it's been
Sorry,
fun
we
doing
laughed.
this again. We've been here on an hour,
yeah.
and it's been really great. We just want to say thank you again for all your support, your patrons and members, and all those things. It really does make a difference. I mean, we can't say it enough. Like your support, like the financial support you give us, whether you're buying shirts like the Andiamo and other things, or water bottles, or koozies for your beer, or just what you're giving us for this, and watching the videos and commenting. Because
The commenting
the
to
comment
me
really
means
helps.
so much because I know that I can trust you guys. I feel like I know all of you. I don't know all of you, but I feel like I know all of you, and I can trust what you're going to say to other people, and you're going to be helpful, and you're supportive of us when people are like trolls or whatever. And I feel like I feel like there's this great camaraderie, and I appreciate it so much.
Exactly, Eric. What a concept. No trolls and real questions. Can't beat
Crazy,
it, buddy.
isn't it?
All right. Well, we'll let y'all go. It's 9 o'clock here. Kitty's got school tomorrow. I got 1 week till I go back to teaching 8 a.m. classes with a bunch of college students who are always so excited to have an 8 a.m. class. It's fun. I think this semester I only have 400 students in that class. Usually it's about 600. So it'll be a nice intimate class this semester. So 400 of my closest friends, but they're nice. The kids are good. So the students are good. They're not kids. They're adults. They're students.
Adults.
So,
Yeah.
and I like them. So that's cool. All right, Billy. Thanks, buddy. And don't forget, I did answer that one, the replay kind of things. I've taken notes.
17,
so I can,
17 minutes in, I think.
Well,
is that what we decided?
It was 8:16. So that would have been about 18 minutes in is when your thing pops up, buddy. All right. I wish you all the best. Thank you for everybody for everything. Y'all rock.
Bye.